It's Friday, and you know what that means. It's time to create. Now, last week, we created the Monster Hug card for our dads. Father's Day, remember, is June 21st. So we want to get making on this project. So we have a Monster Hug card for our dad, and now we need to make him a gift. What we're going to be making is personal piñatas, so that your dad is going to be able to open the piñata and find a great message from you. Here's what you'll need. You need some paper. If all you have is notebook paper, you can use it. You can add color with markers. Don't have any notebook paper? You know you could use pictures out of a magazine. Or if you have it, colored paper is going to make this project pretty easy to do too. So you'll need paper. You'll need those rolls from that cardboard. We've talked about saving them. Ribbon or string. Tape. A ruler if you have one. But if you don't have one, we know of course that we can just use the straight edge. Some markers are handy. Scissors. Pennies. A hole puncher, but if you don't have a hole puncher, you know that you can sharpen a pencil and poke a hole with it, and some glue. Now, to get started, the first thing you're going to need is, for your piñata, you need to do some preparation work. So the very first thing you need to do is you need to put the hanging ribbon on. Now, the ribbon can be a piece of ribbon, a piece of string. If worse came to worse, an old shoelace would work. So the very first thing you're going to do is at what will be the top of your piñata. Now I'm making mine to look like a monster to match my card. So you're going to tape the ribbon at the top of the tube. So when you tape the ribbon to the top of the tube, that's going to be how your piñata, you'll hold it or hang it. Now the next thing you need to do is prep the other end of the piñata. Now, to prep the other end of the piñata, you're going to need the paper that was on the rolls. You only need one square. So you're going to take one square of paper, you're going to fold it in half, and you're going to make a little cut in the center, about 1/2 inch. So I've got my cut about 1/2 inch, then I fold it the other way, and I make another little cut like that. It should look like a little plus sign. So now I have a little plus sign cut there. I take my tube, I've got my ribbon hanging on the top, I loop it over so that the plus sign is over the top of the tube. Then I'm just going to wrap some tape around it and secure it. And there we go. Oh, my tape stuck together. I can unstick it. I wrap it around. Now, if you have a little brother or sister, this might be a good chance for them to get involved too and help you with your hands. But if you don't, you can see you can do it with one. Now, let's say you didn't have any tape. Well, then glue it. Don't have any glue? We've gone over how to make glue. Remember, in Smart Lab, we do with what we have. So now, I have the tape loop on this side, and I have the tissue paper with 4 cuts. Now we're going to need to make the pull string for the piñata. This is not a piñata that you're going to smash open. You're going to actually pull a pull string. So you want a long piece of string. This is that curling ribbon. I love it. When you run your scissors over it, it curls like this. I got this at the dollar store. Comes in all colors, really shiny too. But remember, string will work. And if you really didn't have anything, remember, you know how to make plarn, right? You can make a pull string out of plarn. So now you've got this edge, and this is a really important part to make sure that your piñata is going to be able to open. You're going to take your pull string and you're going to tape it, and you want to make sure that you get one of those flaps. Because when your dad pulls it, you want him to be able to rip open this bottom of this piñata. So he's going to rip open it. So now I have my hanging loop, I have my pull strings. Next, I need to start my decoration. So you can see my piñata is a monster piñata, and he has a whole bunch of fringes. Each layer of fringe is just a strip of paper. So, to make my life easier, I use my ruler to determine the width of my paper. So, we've done this in class a lot. You use the width of your ruler to draw a line, and then you cut that strip of paper. Now, depending on how small you cut your strips, you're going to need about 10 to 12 of these. I made mine in 3 different colors. You're going to be thinking about, what do you want your piñata to look like? So you cut some strips. And then now, once you got your strips cut, you're going to take them, wrap them around your cardboard tube to get the length. Cut there. Now, once you know the length, you can use this as your model. Oops. You can use this as your model and cut your strips. Now, we want to fringe the strips, but we only want to fringe half. I'm not really good at knowing where to stop, so again, I use my ruler. I put my ruler on my strip. I draw a line so that it is in half. Actually, I did a little more than half. And then I'm going to fringe it. Now, the smaller you make your fringes, the more detail. The size of the fringe doesn't matter. You're going to make it what works for you. So then, fringe, 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 fringe. Ooh, got a little fat there. So I'm fringing here. And then now, I'm going to start the process. I put the first fringe around here, and I like to put a little bit of glue and tape. But if you only had one or the other, both would work. So, I put that there. I take the fringe, I put it around. I'm starting at the bottom. Remember, you're going to start at the bottom. Don't get my string caught in there. And my glue's not quite holding it as well as I want, so I'm going to add a little piece of tape to secure it. I've got it here. So this is how my piñata starts. You're going to keep adding fringes all the way up. If you want to add in arms or eyes, you're going to add those in too. Your piñata can look like whatever you want it to look like for your dad. You could use his favorite colors. Now, in a piñata, it's important to have a surprise. Have something in the piñata. So, what we're going to make are keychain tags. So the keychain tags, you can make as many of them as you want to go in the piñata so your dad can know how special he is. But the key is they have to fit through the piñata. A little windy out here today. So your key has to fit through. So you can take a spare tube, drop it through so that you know that it's going to fit when it comes out. Now, to make these tags, it's pretty simple. You're going to cut some rectangles. Then, once you cut your rectangle, the very first thing you're going to do is glue a penny on it. Yep, these are going to be lucky keychains for your dad, because each one is going to have a penny inside. So, I glue a penny. Now, I wonder, are you thinking, why is she putting a penny in there? Well, in order for them to fall out of the piñata, they have to have a little weight or mass. If they didn't have a little weight or mass, they would get stuck in the piñata. Also, when your dad hangs them on his keychain, we want them to hang down. So now, I've made a sandwich of paper and a penny. This looks a little plain to me, so then I'm going to take a different color, and I'm going to add a little, going to cut it a little bit smaller, and I'm going to add another layer. I like that. That's looking better, but I still want to make it a little easier to look at. So I'm going to take a piece of white paper and I'm going to cut even a little smaller rectangle. And this is where I'm going to make my superlative. A superlative is a word like biggest, greatest. It's when you're comparing multiple things and it is either the highest or the lowest, like the smallest or the greatest. Well, we know, of course, our dads are going to be great dads. So now, I've layered a bunch of them together. I could do it on both sides if I wanted. I take my marker. I'm going to write, my dad is the best. My dad is the best. You can write whatever you want on it. Think about your dad. Now, in order to make this go on his keychain, you need to waterproof it. You can do it with packing tape, or you can do it with regular tape. Basically, you want to make sure that the entire thing is sealed in tape. So I put it in the tape. I seal it up. And then you can see now it's way too big. Come on, guys. You can figure this out. You're going to trim it because remember, it has to fit through there. So I trim it. Now, this would be great if I were making little bookmarkers. My dad would love to use this to mark his place in a book, but I like him to be able to hang it on his keychain. So once I've secured the tape, I'm going to punch a hole in it. Now, if you don't have a hole puncher, before you tape it, you're going to poke it with a pencil to make the hole. And then when you tape it, you're going to poke it again. So now, I've made 4 of these. I could just put 4 of these in, and that would be fine. But one of the really fun things in a piñata is the confetti. Well, confetti is literally just little pieces of paper. Now, every time I have the hole punchers out in class, I end up with a whole bunch of little pieces everywhere. So I know you guys love to use the hole puncher. So of course, this is your opportunity. You can hole punch it and then pour all of those in. Oh, but what if you don't have a hole puncher? Again, in Smart Lab, we do with what we have. So then I can just use my scissors and I can cut up some little tiny fragments of paper. And I'm going to put those in there as well. So I've got those in. I put in my superlatives. And I want to make sure, I put arms on mine, so I have to make sure I don't interfere with my arms. So I've got all of those in. I've got the confetti. If you had some little candies, you could put those in as well. And so now you have your piñata, and I see that my pull string has come off my sample. But you know what? Smart Lab, we go, wait a minute, something's wrong here. I've got to make an adjustment. So my pull string came off, so I'm going to add another to our sample. Again, making sure that I catch the edge of that tissue paper, because when I pull this, I want the tissue paper to rip away. So now, here you have it, a piñata for Dad. You're going to present it to him with his Monster Hug card. You can hold it up and then do a countdown. Let me grab my pull strings. 1, 2, 3. Whoa! And then Dad has his keychain. Have a great summer and a good Father's Day. And remember, Father's Day is June 21st. You can give it to him on Father's Day. Bye now.